to that. All right, so let's go ahead. So we haven't been doing like quizzes and stuff like that in here, but since we haven't met since last Thursday, I just want to just kind of see where you guys are at. So we did talk about the tense markers. So this is only tense markers. Okay, some of you all are really familiar with these, but if you're not, then this, this quiz will just kind of refresh your memory from last Thursday. If you don't get any of them, or if you only get a few, it's okay. We're gonna do a review after, after, I guess. Well, I mean, there's only, let's see, there's 5 of them here. So let's give ourselves like, till 8 after the hour, and then we'll go ahead and review these together. Okay, and then we'll take it from there. If you have any questions, just hit me up in the chat. Yep. So yeah, okay. Hopefully you guys were able to get all of these. If not, even if you got some, if none, it doesn't matter. We're gonna review them now, so everyone can be on the same page. So what's the first one? It's the future tense marker. Oh, wait, before we get into that, so tense markers, again, for if this is like your first time, tense markers let everyone know, or let the listener know if it's past, present, or future. And we do it a little different in Samoan because a lot of sentences, a lot of phrases lead off with the tense marker. So it goes tense, and it combines with the action, and then it goes, then who's doing the action, the subject. So tense, action, subject, and then later on we're going to talk about the tense marker, and then tense, subject, and then the action. So, but for right now, let's just figure out what these tense markers are: past, present, or future. So what would be our future tense marker?
Olia.
For the ah, yep, for the ah, yep. So exactly, thank you, Tailava. So that is our future tense marker. Sometimes you'll hear people, actually a lot of times, especially in everyday Samoan, people just say ah, and then they'll say the action. So that's future tense and then the action. But yep, or the ah. Present tense habitual action. Present tense habitual action.
Eh.
Yep. I guess it would help if I wrote these out. So the first one is lea, I'm sorry, lea. That should have the fatma muff over it, but I don't know how to do that. And then this one is so it's present tense. So anytime he sleeps there, she talks to him, she the dog climbs the tree, whatever. So okay. Remember, we're gonna take our tense, put the tense, combine it with the action, and then who's doing the action. Great. Present tense. So we have an action that's incomplete or it's still happening. I'm sorry, past tense. Past tense.
Sa.
Sa. Yep, sa. So that would be like me saying, I'm telling you a story, and then I take you back in time in my story, and I say I was running on the field, and I juked everybody or whatever. So, but in that moment of my story, I'm telling you what was happening at that time. So that means the action was still going on, it was still happening, it was incomplete. Now, a lot of people use, you'll hear people use sa and na interchangeably all the time. Sometimes they're, it's okay. Other times it's like, well, for me at least, I'm confused, like you're not really using it. And these are like native speakers too, where it's like, okay, this isn't really by the book, but they speak it all the time, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But for just for our purposes, since we're learning like the more formal way, past tense, the action is incomplete or still happening, and while the story is going on or whatever, that's the difference between sa and then the other one. We'll get to the other one. So present tense, updated action.
Ua.
Ua, yep, ua. So that would be like I guess I use the same example all the time. I'm in the room, like all of us are in the room, and then let's say I walk out and then I come back in and I say, Ofe Kyungi, like, what happened to Kyungi? Where's Kyungi at? And then someone says Ualu, Ua. Someone says Ualu, Ualu. So Alu is to go, right? And I'm updating you, even though it already happened. It didn't happen that long ago. I'm updating you on what happened. Yeah, Ualu Kyungi. So let's spell it like that. So Johnny has left, left, has left Johnny. So that's kind of that's what the UA is. The UA just kind of updates the listener on what's going on. So even though it already kind of happened, didn't happen that long ago, but I'm updating the listener of what just happened. UALU. All right. Past tense action is complete. It's done already. Anyone know that one?
Na.
Nah. Yep. So we have nah. And so that's the difference between na and sa. So I went. Oops. Is that me? Sorry guys. So I went. He left. So the action is over and done. So even though it's in the past, the action is done. It's over and complete. So that's the difference between if I say was going, that would be sa. And then if I said, left, they, they're gone, like na alu, as opposed to sa alu. Sa alu was going, na alu was gone. So it's over and done, the action. And then the last one is a present tense. Action is happening right now.
Lo'u.
Olo'o, yep, olo'o. So that is going to be olo'o. Okay. And then a lot of times people they'll just abbreviate it to o. And you're like, well, dang, that sounds like, if you were to say ole ta'avale or something like that. So if they do say o, oalu or o, and then the action, that's because they just shortened the olo. That's all they did. They just shortened the olo. Okay, so future tense, ole a, present
Olea.
tense, present tense. Oh yeah, and then make sure, so I mean, and people will drag you. So like if you say olea as opposed to olea, but I'm sorry, olea. So you have to kind of on the le, on the instead of le, like, you want to make sure that you hit that you want to hit that taofi right there after the e. So olea, so because
Olea.
yeah, olea, because there's like if you were to say what, like oleale, so it's almost like a question. So it's it kind of slurs out the e. So if you don't put that there, it kind of sounds like what in Samoan. Okay, so when you're saying the future tense marker olea, you want to make sure you kind of chop off the e with the taofi. Okay, it just takes a little practice, but there's a difference between olea and olea. Hopefully you heard it. Olea and olea. So there's I mean it's a slight difference, but people will, it ain't the end of the world, but people will know the difference. Okay, so let's move on to our next thing. Tense, action, and then the subject. So we talked about the different types of tense markers, right? And then we combine, at least at this stage of our learning, right? Tense combines with the action, and the action comes right after, okay? And then who's doing the action? Who are we talking about? So letene. So if I say olea savali letene, olea savali letene. Anybody know what savali is?
Walk.
To walk, right? So that's our action, to walk. So whatever the action is going to be right there. Walk, talk, sing, clap, cry, whatever. It's going to be right there. And then our tense marker goes before that. And the tense marker, remember, says past, present, or future. Okay, so we're saying olea savali. So will, future tense, walk, and then we have letene, letene. Okay, anyone knows what the letene?
The girl.
The girl. So altogether it's going to be, and this is what I mean by when it made it really clicked for me when someone says, yeah, when you read Samoan for English, when you translate it, it's like you're start in the middle, you go to the front, and then you go back through again. So as you can see here, like in English, we start with our subject. So letene or le asava. There is a way that we can say that in Samoan as well. We could say or letene or le asava liaile, whatever. We'll get to that part. But but this I believe loses a lot of people because first of all, we don't do tense markers like that. We don't separate them from, we would say walked, we would say talked, or was talking. But here in Samoan, we have our tense, we have our action, and then we say who does the action, which is our subject. So "Ole'a savali letene," will walk the girl, or the girl will walk. So this takes a lot of practice. This is around the time where I really recommend for people just to write every day, make a journal. I always say, journal, diary, whatever you want to call it, and and put it in this format: tense, action, subject, tense, action, subject. Okay, so that's that. Now here's another, but we're using a pronoun. All right, so olea sabalia. All right, now this is not as common. I mean, people talk like this all the time, but when we use a pronoun, there's a certain kind of pronoun that we're going to use right here. So these are ones. Oops. These are the kind of pronouns that come after the action. These come after the action. So another thing that throws people off, English speakers, because in Samoan we have pronouns that come after the action, and we have pronouns that come before the action. So it would be like right here when we get to tense, subject, action. Right now we're only concentrate on the tense, action, and then the subject. So with these pronouns, a'u, a'u is one of those that we say after the action, or if we were to just say them by themselves. Like if someone were to say, who wants to come, with me to, the carnival or whatever, and then I would say, oh, a'u, I do, I, me. Okay, so that's one way. But then when if you say the pronoun after an action, we're going to use that one. So let me just go to the list of pronouns that you say after the action. Okay, and this slide right here just says basically whenever we use the pronouns that come after the action, whenever we use this style of speaking in Samoan, like tense, action, and then the subject, we're emphasizing this pronoun. Okay. This might you know this is confusing to a lot of people because, like I said, it's new. But let's just go over the pronouns. So these are the ones that you say after the action. So whenever it's tense, action, and then the subject, if this subject right here is a pronoun like I, me, you, they, them, us, we, any kind of pronoun like that, then we're going to use these pronouns right here. So they're called, you don't have to know the technical terms of these, but whenever you say them after the action, we're going to say I, a'u, you, oi, him, her, it, ia. Oh, I'm sorry, ia. Us two, and we'll talk about the difference between ta'ua and ma'ua and mato and tato. So us two, the inclusive version is going to be I ta'ua. Us two, the exclusive version, I may as well just go ahead and talk about it now. So when we say I ta'ua, that is going to be us two. And you're going to hear this in a lot of love songs because there's only two people in the conversation, right? So if There's nobody excluded in the conversation. There's nobody even here. It's only me and you. So the pronoun, it would be itaua. I'm talking to you and I say, us two, we. So that would be the pronoun for that. Now, if let's just say there's 5 of us in the room, and then I say me and Salesi, like we are gonna go. And I'm talking to, I could be talking to Salesi or I could be talking to somebody else, but I'm letting everybody know it's only us two. We have to go. So if I say we and I say Imaua, I'm excluding people. So there's 5 people here, or however, 25, whatever, but I'm excluding everyone else, but us two, we have an action to do. So Imaua. Itaua is there's nobody else here, there's nobody else in the conversation, it's just us two. So that's the difference between Itaua is inclusive, so us two inclusive, nobody here to exclude anyway. So that's why it's Taua, Itaua. Us two exclusive, that means there's other people around or other people implied in the conversation, but they're not part of what we're talking about. They're not going to do the action. It's just going to be us two. Imaua. All right. Again, if you have questions, I know this is it's a new concept for some people. So you too, Olua, Olua. So that's you too. So if I say Oamai Olua. So if I say a lot of you all are familiar with Oamai Oi, like how are you? So that's this one up here. Oamai Oi. So that's that. But if I say Oamai Olua, so now instead of saying how are you, I'm saying how are you too? Oamai Olua. Okay, and then you can use the Oamai with all of these. Oamai Oi, Oamai Ia, Oamai Itaua, Oamai Imaua, Oamai Olua. If I want to say how are them two, or so them two or they. So Ilaua is like they, but like they too. The two of them. Oamai Ilaua. You see that? Okay. Oamai Ilaua. So now, and then in Samoan, we also have we have pronouns for 3 people. Again, something else that we don't do in English. So people, because if we say them, it could be 2. If we say them in English, it could be 3. It's just more than 1. Okay. But in Samoan, we have pronouns for 2 people. Okay. Itaua, imaua, olua, ilaua. And then we also have pronouns for more than 2 people, like 3 plus. So we, itato. Okay, so that's us 3. So if I'm having a conversation, nobody's excluded because I'm saying tato, just like the ta'ua, right? Nobody's excluded. I'm telling you, pouring my heart out to you. It's only me and you here. I can say what I want, and hopefully you accept it. So that's like a love song between me and you, ita'ua. Now itato, that's kind of like when we're at church, when people say tato tatalu, like we pray or let us pray or our prayer, itato tato tatalu. So there's nobody, we're not saying mato tatalu, except except for Leishan. We're not excluding somebody. So that's why we don't say like that. We're saying everybody in here, tato talo. Okay. So itato, that's gonna be everyone. So more than 3 people. If I say imato, the ma again, it excludes people. Okay. The ma is just like the ma'ua, we're excluding people here down here, but it's 3 or more people. So imato. Okay. Oto is gonna be you or like y'all, like you all. Like, so that's why, like, when I come on, sometimes I say, Talo Falava Yao To or Yao Ko. So, hello, hi y'all, that's another way to say it. And then them, so three or more of them is going to be ilato, ilato. So this is the way that we would say this whole row is how we would say it after the action. All right. And then when we say like standalone pronouns, like whenever we just say like who did this, or me, or I did it. Or if I want to blame you, oi, you, oia, like he did it. Or if I want to say we, us, oi taua, oi maua, o lua, o ila ua, or actually, yeah, o ila ua. So them too. O itato, o imato, o oto, o ilato. All right. So I know it's a new concept. It's actually very new, but it just really just takes practice. So I would suggest I'll leave this up for just another second as I erase this and just kind of practice like tense, action, and if you use a pronoun, say this. And then we don't have to use the O in this column, because when we say tense, action, and then we say our subject. If our subject is a pronoun, which would be this row right here, we don't have to use the O. That's why, it just says au, oi, ia, ita, ua, ima, ua. We don't have to use the O because we're going to take on the tense of that. Okay. So we drop the O of the subject. Okay. For example, if I were to say, let's say our subject is oletama. I'll just keep it, what we always do. Oletama. All right. Now, let's say our tense is, let's say our tense is going to be sa, and then what's going to be our action? Savali. Da savali oletama. We don't have to say sa savali oletama. We don't have to have that O, because remember, if it's by itself, if I say who did that, and I say oletama, the boy, I don't have to say that, because now we have a tense. Here's our tense now. That tense carries through the whole sentence. Okay, so we can go ahead and drop the noun tense marker. All right, we can drop that. So instead of sa savali oletama, it's going to be sa savali letama. Okay, sa savali letama. The boy was walking the boy. Sa savali letama. Okay. Hope if you don't get it, that's okay. We got plenty of other examples. We're gonna keep on trying to nail this down until everyone gets it. All right. Okay, now what happens if you have two subjects? We already talked about this. Remember last week we said if you want to take if we just wanted to say the boy and the girl, right? Don't worry about the tense and the action. This part is review. All right. If we just wanted to say the boy and the girl, so we have two subjects. We're gonna, if this is by itself, we would say what? Negate or take that part off. If we just wanted to say the boy and the girl, what would we say?
Letama malekengi.
Oletama maletene, olekama malekenge. If you say K style, right? So we would need the O. We would need the O if we said if there were no other if there was no tense, if there were no action here. But there is a tense and an action here. So we don't need the subject tense marker. We don't need the noun tense marker. So we just take that out. Okay. And we could this na, because that's our tense, it's past tense. We can't say not, I mean, I won't say we can't, but you will get called out if you said na tusi or letama maletene. Okay, so you don't need that O, because if we just said oletama maletene, we're saying it is the boy and the girl. But or I'm sorry, it presently is the boy and the girl. But since we're not talking about the present tense, we're talking about the past tense. We have this tense that carries all the way through the sentence or the phrase. So we can just drop the O right there. Na tusi, na tusi. Anyone knows what tusi is?
Book.
I'm sorry. Say again.
You said what is Tusi, right? It's a book.
Oh yeah. So tusi is book as a noun, but as an action, what would that mean?
What would that
Reading.
Read.
Read is fight out.
Right.
Right. Right. So to write. So to see is to write, like like to write like that. So that's to write. So if I na to see. Na to see. So put those together. Na and to see. Wrote, because it's past tense. So past tense write is wrote. So wrote the boy and the girl. Natusi letama maletene. Natusi letama maletene. So if you and of course, you have to know the vocabulary. That would help out a lot. But at this point, like if you start writing every day, like whatever action you have, and then put a tense to it, and then who's doing the action? These are the people doing the action right here. Letama maletene, or I'll say it like this, or letama maletene. Well, we don't have to say the O because we have our tense. We're talking about the past tense. So we drop that O and just say natusi letama maletene. Okay. Someone said, what about when there's multiple subjects, nouns, like the boy was drinking the water in the cup? Great question. That's like well, you know what, we're actually going to get into that, so I don't want to confuse anybody. I want to make sure everyone get this first, Sienna, but that's a great question. Thank you so much for that. We're going to get to that though. That's an advanced question. So wrote the boy and the girl, but if you were to translate it, it's going to be the boy and the girl wrote. Okay, so let's go to a different one. I think we're going to get to Sienna's question. Actually, we will. So now here's a little difference here. So we have two subjects. We have a tense, we have an action, and then we have subject number one, and then we have subject number two. Okay. If we say letama, and what, anyone knows what lepepa is?
Paper.
The paper, right? So we have the paper, the boy, and then we have natusi. What's the natusi?
Wrote.
Wrote, right? So we have wrote, and then we have the boy, and we have the paper. Okay, now this the Samoan language like breaks down actions in a way that we don't do it in English. So this is another thing that confuses people. So natusi letama lepepa. But if you notice here, I skipped this e. Okay, this e. All right, natusi letama lepepa. So what happens is we have our subjects coming after our action, and they're right together. So who's doing the action? Who's receiving the action? So if and I do hear people speak like this. They'll say, natusi letama lepepa. they'll say so fast and they'll omit this. But in here again, we want to make sure that we do everything, you know. So the way that we know who's doing the action or what's doing the action, who, what, where, yeah, you know, which noun is doing the action right there. The way that we know that is with the e. This is the doer of the action. All right. So we have two subjects. Even if we had 5, 7, 50, 11 subjects, it doesn't matter. The one that has the e, that's who did the subject. So we could say natusi eletama le pepa male you know male ipu male, whatever you want to say. You can male, you know, and this and that and that and that. The author of the natusi is gonna be the one with the e. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so does everyone understand that? Any
Hey,
questions?
what if multiple people wrote the paper?
Okay, if multiple people, so usually it's gonna be like you know, they'll say you know, lato, you know, elato, like, you know, they wrote, not to see it, elato, like they wrote the paper. But if you wanted to name every single person, more than likely they would probably just use a way to combine all of those. But if we were to say something like I don't know, give me an example, like, well, yeah, give me an example of what you, okay, someone said something. Natusi eletama maletene le pepa. Exactly, Chris, thank you. That's a great one. Okay. So I'm gonna copy what Christian said and then oh, whiteboard. Okay. There we go. So we have wrote or natusi, and then we have eletama maletene. And then this can go on for infinity until if you wanted to name every single person, you know, that natusi, you know, le pepa. If you wanted to say every single person, all of this would be the subject phrase, or, you know, this subject. So remember we had, how do we do that? There was our tense was na, tusi is our action. And then, so we have one subject. This all counts as one subject. So eletama maletene male you know male tamalo male toyaina male tama maletina. All of that would be, it doesn't matter whatever you put after that, you know. So it would be like wrote, the boy and the girl and the father and the son and the dog and the cat and whatever else. All of that would be one subject, connected by the male, you know, ma, this, that. And then the second subject, le pepa. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, the E character, yep, just like the O. So if the way that I think of all of this stuff is phrases. So that's kind of how everything is sort of set up in here, is like one phrase at a time. So week 1, remember, we mainly just try to figure out a subject phrase. Ole tama, ole tene, ole pepa. We're just figuring out how to say subjects. All right. So then week 2, we were, you know, well, week 2 we just kind of introduced like the tense and the action. So these this is another phrase, goes together, tense and action. All right. Week 3, we put all these things together, but we're also going to introduce another phrase, this location phrase. So ile, ilungo o, ilalo o, on top of, below. So everything that we're doing is by phrase, okay? And then we just put all the phrases together at week, you know, 4.5, and then now we're speaking full sentences. Hopefully, that's the idea of it, okay? All right. If you have any questions, please stop. Like I said, it's really based on you know, whatever you guys want to talk about. So Let me move a little faster. I didn't realize time is flying like this. So, okay, with the e, because we could say like this. We could say na tusi eletama le pepa. We know who's doing the action. We know which subject is doing the action because of the e. The e na tusi eletama le pepa. We could say it a different way, and a lot of Americanized speakers do. I think, just from you know what I hear, because we kind of say like this in English. So wrote the paper by the boy, Elitama, wrote the paper by the boy. So I kind of hear this a lot on this end. I don't know about Scalia and New Zealand, or Australia and New Zealand, but this is kind of how we speak in English. Wrote the boy. I'm sorry, wrote the paper by the boy. Okay, wrote the paper by the boy. Well, it's a little closer to English. Some of my uncles kind of talk like that. So wrote the paper by the boy, but it doesn't matter, because since we have this e right there, that lets us know which subject or who, what, where, when is doing the action. E le tamo. Okay, e le tamo. So we could say natusi e le tamo le pepa, or we could say natusi le pepa e le tamo. All right, everyone got that? If not, let me know. So just a note about the tutorials. Sundays we do have tutorials, right? I log in right at 1 o'clock my time, which is 11 a.m. California time. At like 5 after, then I'll log off. I'll assume nobody's gonna be here. This Sunday we won't meet because I'm going out. I'm going out of town. So we if you log in, then that would be my bad because I'm not going to be here. Okay, so before we do this, let's do an activity, because I really like how this class, you guys like doing the activity. So let me go to, where's it at? Okay, so I'm going to break you guys off into groups. You guys, it's like 10 minutes. It's going to be like 5 groups. Well, let's see, it's 26 in the class. So divided by, okay, so it'll be like 4 or 5 groups. So remember, what all we're going to do is create tense action subject statements based off of the pictures that we see. Are the pictures here? No. Okay, based off of the pictures that we see. Let me post up the pictures. Oh, where they at? Okay, actually, just make your own statements, because when I tried to do this before, it didn't really work. So there's a sheet. We have our nouns. Okay, so this would be our subjects. Ole potu, ole moenga, ole sitepu. Okay, so that's one. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna put it in our chat. So this would be your subject. Okay. Boom. All right. Your action. These are your verbs. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm also gonna put this in the chat. These are your verbs. Okay. Boom. The only thing you need is a tense. So you come up with your tense. All right. So tense, action, subject, statements. So each person in your group, once you break off into your group, everybody in the group make three tense, action, subject statements. All right. Then each person is going to take turn reading their statement in Samoan to the group. And before you do that, and this is the same. We're gonna do this every single class. Okay. Introduce yourself. Yeah. Talofalava, olo uingo, o viliamu, yeah, ola kemi, or ola obtain, however you want to say it, T style, K style. And then you read your 3 statements. All right. After you read your 3 statements, you can either translate it. You guys, do whatever you want to in your group. And then the next person picks it up. The next person in your group said, yeah, lava. Let's say Maggie. Lava Maggie, Malole Tamafai. Remember, that's like great effort, good job, whatever context. And then from there, then they start Talofalava, Olo Uingo, or Ernest. yeah, ola utemi, and then they start. So, and then after that, that's when we'll get back together, and then we'll read our we'll just go group by group and then share. If there's a word you don't know and it's not on the noun vocabulary sheet or the verb vocabulary sheet, then remember, just ask your group. You know, oleale upufasa momo, mouse. Like a computer mouse. I don't know the computer mouse. A mouse will be isu. So if that were the same thing, then we would say, yeah, isu. Isu. Isu is a nose. I'm sorry, I messed that up. So this is the tali is the answer. Vesili is the question. So olealu pufasa mo o mouse. All right. O isumu. All right. So that's but the goal is to just speak all Samoan when we're in our group. If you don't want to do the exercise, you can just wait on the outside, and then we'll get back together at 55 after the I'm sorry, 58 after the hour. That's pretty much the whole class. So sorry I burnt that up explaining all of that. So we're gonna break out into groups. I want to do that. Okay, breakout room. Okay, breakout room. 45. All right, if you don't want to go in the room, just hang out here with me, ask questions. We can do our own thing out here in our own room, but you guys can join right now, and I'm gonna stop the recording. All right, everybody. Sorry, I feel like you guys needed more time, but I'm not sure. If we'll just go, if you guys can have one statement per group, and then we'll do it like that. We won't do the whole exercise, but when we start next time, I think that's what we'll start with our exercise first, because I really think that's what benefits you guys more, if you're able to actually speak Samoan to each other. So anybody first. And if you have I think there were like 4 groups, or 5 groups. Does anyone have a tense action subject statement?
Yeah, Will, from group number 4.
Okay.
Olo'o ai le pepe.
Olo'o ai le pepe.
Le pepe.
Awesome. And anyone knows what that means?
Baby's
The
eating.
baby is eating
Yep. And who's eating?
a baby.
The baby is eating. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, and that's all, that's really all it is to it. So olo'o ai le pepe. The baby is eating. If you can get that pattern down, you'll be doing great. Next group, is anyone it doesn't matter which one. So that was group 4.
I got one.
Okay.
Haka mo'e le maile. Nga
Kamo'e. Oh, nah. Okay, I'm sorry.
nga ka mo'e le maile.
Na kamo'e le maile. Anyone knows what that one means?
The dog was running.
The dog. Oh, okay. So the dog was running. Okay.
Dog ran.
The dog
Oh,
ran.
the ran. Yeah.
Yeah, the dog ran. I'm glad you said that though. So the dog ran. So if we were to say sa kamo'e le maile, because now I'm taking you back in time, and I'm telling you about an action that has not, it's still going on. The dog was running when I came outside. I didn't see anything because I was busy with the dog. So that's different. So that's the dog was running. But if I said the action was over and done, the dog ran. So that is the difference. Thank you so much. I'm glad you brought that up. The dog ran. So that's that one. The next group.
Olo'o ingu I la'ua.
Olo'ingu I la'ua. Awesome. And what does that mean?
Those 2 are drinking.
Yep. Those two, or those two, they two are drinking. Olo'oingu i la'ua. Awesome. So you see the pattern, you guys are doing great. And then the last one, I know we're right at time. Last group. Or was there more? Was there 3 groups or 4? Okay. Well, I guess so. This is great. If you get the pattern down, it's just tense, action, and then the doer of the action, or the main thing, the main subject of the action. Okay. So we're at time. We're actually over. Thank you guys so much. We'll be here Thursday. We're gonna expound on this a little more. Lava. Thank you guys. You guys are doing great. And I
Faso
really,
fua.
I really like the exchange. So let's keep it going. If you have questions, just hang around. I'll be